Time for some district breakdowns. That's my man Diggsy. I'm the Wizard. We're going to talk 658 Division One. You know, like the two of the toughest teams that were in that district moved on, or three of them actually. If you have Birdville, Richland, and Timberview all out of there, what the Carrollton teams are left with, and the Dallas ISD teams, they got some Mesquite teams in there, which makes it very interesting because, again, like we talked about 2 weeks ago, there's playoff spots to be had. Diggsy, who's going to grab?
Touchdown Teddy is going to grab him right now. That's our guy, and I'm sure he's going to be really excited about this alignment. And with what the UIL did, I'm not a big fan of this set of realignments. And now that the UIL is studying this new proposal to kind of make everything look like the basketball, we're going to have 32 districts, and we're going to take the 4 teams out of each district and seed them in all the sports and football now. I'm not sure if we're ever going to see something like this again. But this is going to be a fun district because, like you said, like we talked about 2 weeks ago with Fort Worth ISD, playoff spots are available. Who wants them? And you can be a team that can jump up a tier and grab them. But for me, I like Newman Smith as the number 1 team in this district. They graduated a lot. They got to figure out who's going to come in there and replace that offensive output that they lost their quarterback. But Axel Lofstrand, he's a guy who I've been kind of watching some tape on. He looks like a really good quarterback who can step in. You got Maxim Mingo. What a name, Ward.
Yes.
Maxim Mingo.
Sounds like a gladiator.
Sounds he like is a gladiator, and he's going to lead the Trojans off to a district championship. Alex Segura is another talented player coming back. Marquise George, really talented running back. And I love the green and gold. You know, I'm a big Newman Smith fan at heart. Our guy Kenny Matthews is a Newman Smith alum. Oh, I'm a big fan of Newman Smith, and I've got them number 1 in this district. Fight on. Let's get our Trojan, get our little swords going on right here. We're not Marauders, we're Trojans, and we are moving on to the number 1 team. But I did mention Touchdown Teddy, and we got to give him some love because I think we're going to see some Mesquite ISD playoff football. West Mesquite, they got a new coach, Ward. I know you love Coach Jackson over there from Seagoville over to West Mesquite. And I think there's a reason why he came over there. I think he sees the talent on the west side of Mesquite, and they got some young kids. Demarion Robinson, I think, is a name you're going to have to watch. He was a freshman. He's going to be a sophomore. And you know how Coach Jackson can develop wide running backs because you went over there and did a whole shoot up of the running backs over at Seagoville last year. So you know the talent that Coach Jackson has an offensive mind. And remember, Coach Jackson in his coaching tree, he was the offensive coordinator at Duncanville. So he is an offensive mind. Give him a talent like Demarion Robinson, and I think you're going to have success. They got Richard Clark. Who's going to throw them the ball? Do they even need to throw the ball, Ward? Are we going to go triple option at West Mesquite? We don't need to know, but they got the horses who can take the care of business at the running back. I think they're a number 2 team, and you know where they've been just getting beat up. West Mesquite has just been kind of an afterthought, and now in this district they have a really good chance. And I feel like I've been repetitive for the last 2 years on the Campfires Ward. We kept talking about North Mesquite and that 7-5A is they're fine. We said they're on the bottom, but they're a better team than their record is going to indicate. That is going to pay off this year. I think North Mesquite is a playoff team. That team at 635 and Town East is going to go over to Town East Mall and rent out what's left of that mall, and they are going to have a celebration because I've got the North Mesquite Stallions back in the playoffs. But they did graduate, everybody, and I know you don't like North Mesquite because you're a Commanders fan. You see that little shirt that the guy was wearing that had the reference to the old school Commander thing on there. Cedar, our coach over there, you don't like him because he was a Cowboys kicker. But, you know, what can you do? His son graduated, so I think they're going to have to figure out who's going to be quarterback. But they have a really talented defensive lineman in Leander Parrish. But they got to figure out a lot of the offensive talent positions. But I think as far as depth goes, they took their licks, and they've got some kids coming up, I think, that's going to really prime them for a playoff spot. So I think North Mesquite and West Mesquite, Mesquite ISD football, Ward, it's back.
They're playoff bound. Mesquite ISD. Well, there's another playoff.
That might be the only Mesquite ISD teams because as we're going to talk about in about 2 months when we start talking about the district.
That's true.
Mesquite Horn.
Horn and Mesquite. They got kind of cast
They
off.
don't like that district lineup, but
no, they don't.
They made it up to them for this district. You got North Mesquite and West Mesquite. I've got them as playoff teams. So Ward, you tell me who I'm going to pick at number 4 of all the teams.
I think you're picking WT White, man, because they got the playoff experience from last year, making it there the last game of the season. What do you think, White? I don't think you're going to pick Creekview or Turner, so I say you're going WT White. What do you say?
WT White, Ward. You are my man. That's why they call you the Wizard.
I mean,
that is reading my mind. You're awesome. And when you got a running back like Ben Abeki coming back, I mean, this is why I'm really excited about WT White. A linebacker in Cooper Whitson, who is a phenomenal talent. Jamarius Jones at safety. But if I have to give you a team to watch out for, because you know I love those teams that are just kind of poking through, I really like Molina. Molina is a team on the rise. They're a team that I think if any of those 4 teams have an off day, Molina can beat them. They got their quarterback coming back, Adam Okoa. They got a really talented running back coming back into Quentin Vaughn. Robert Johnson was a really talented wide receiver. I watched some tape on their defensive lineman, Lance Williams. That is a talented kid. Molina's got some players. Again, it's kind of the thing you go to when you don't know what to say, Ward. When you talk about the infrastructure of a team, I'm worried about Molina's offensive and defensive line. I think North Mesquite, West Mesquite, and Newman Smith are going to have that. If Molina can get that line play going on, they're a team that could slide up into one of the top 4 spots as well. So keep an eye on Molina, Ward, because you know we'll be talking about them every week when we start breaking down everything on our podcast.
Every week we're going to talk about it. We've got 4 teams left, and all 4 of these teams have kind of struggled over the years. Brian Adams actually had mediocre type seasons in the last couple of years, but with Brian Adams and Sunset, Creekview, and Turner, what do you have to say about those? They just kind of be struggling for wins in this district?
Creekview had a quarterback last year, a very young guy named Dre Richardson. I apologize, Dre. You take the W out. We're going to give you some W's this year because I think in this district you're going to get some W's, even though we won't put it in your name. He had 1,400 yards at quarterback and running back. He is a Swiss Army knife of excellence. He's going to be a player who I'm going to predict could qualify for offensive MVP in this district. And if he gets this team going, just like with Molina, I think that's a team that can slide up there. They had a really bad draw last year with that Argyle district. And now all of a sudden they're looking at this like, I think we can do something here. And I think they're going to be a talented team on the rise. They got Jaden Kelly, a really talented wide receiver coming back. Brian Adams started a freshman last year at quarterback. Donovan Cruz, he's only going to get better. I think, you start a sophomore at quarterback, you're going to take your lumps. Kendrick Holloway is a really good running back. I think he's going to help Brian Adams there. R.L. Turner and Sunset, I think, are going to be at the bottom of this district. Sunset graduated everybody. I was looking for, give me a senior Sunset so I could talk about them. Langston Newhouse, you're the guy I'm going to talk about. You were a great athlete last year. Everybody else is gone, so you're going to have to be a leader for your team. And for R.L. Turner, Edgar Cantu, a utility player who did a little bit of everything last year as a player to watch for R.L. Turner. But I think they're going to be on the bottom and on the outside looking in. But Carrollton, Creekview, and Molina, 2 teams to keep an eye on.
Excellent. All right, give me top 1 through 9 here, and we'll move on.
Number 1, Newman Smith. Number 2, West Mesquite. Number 3, North Mesquite. Number 4, WT White, the Longhorns. Number 5, Molina. Number 6, Carrollton Creekview. Number 7, Brian Adams. Number 8, R.L. Turner. And number 9, those Bisons from Sunset High School.
Those Bison, those pesky Bison. All right, we're moving on.
What Bison is, Ward?
Bison.
Bison.
Don't try to trick me. All right, we're moving on to 7-5A Division I after this, our last 5A district before we move up to 6A. So, Diggs, I appreciate you joining us. We will see you next week.
See you next week.